This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Linode, high-performance cloud hosting for everyone. Visit linode.com/MacVoices and take $20 off your first server package. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, you probably noticed that we didn't have a Road to Macstock this year because we're not exactly having a Macstock. We're having a virtual Macstock. But that just means that things are going to be a little different, but it's going to be just as much fun. Maybe not quite as much fun as being in person, but as much fun as you can have with an online live conference, I guess, is the best way to say it. And here to talk about why it's going to be so much fun is Mr. Mike Potter, the organizer. Mike, welcome. It's good to see you.
It is great to once again be back on MacVoices, Chuck. Thank you.
So this is going to be sort of the only road to Macstock, talking to
you. Yeah, every year I take all your Road to Macstock videos and I create a little playlist on the Macstock YouTube channel. Just another place for people to find those wonderful MacVoices videos. And I realized the only one I had in there was the launch video, which we always do one. It's the launch of Road to Macstock, and there was just one little sad video in there. So I said, all right, I'm going to go ahead, and I completely forgot to add the one we recorded in April when I had to unfortunately postpone Macstock until next year, and I went ahead and added that. So I have these lovely bookends. We have the launch of Macstock and the cessation of Macstock, all bookmarked in that playlist. It's still kind of sad, I guess, when you think about it.
That's probably the saddest I think I've ever seen you. It was that when you had to announce that it was not going to be live and in person, and now, and I know that you've like so many were trying to put it off. Now it looks brilliant because there's no way that under these circumstances that it would have seemed like a good idea. So, congratulations for having the fortitude to do it.
No, there's no way it would have worked. Absolutely no way. And I'm really glad I made the call. It's easy with 2020 hindsight to say, well, look, we've made the right call. But at the time, you just don't know. You just don't know. We still don't know what's going to happen next month, let alone next year. But the plan is Macstock 2021. Next July, we're going for it, unless we can't. We'll find out.
Well, but okay, so unlike some, though, who have just folded up events and said, we're not going to do anything this year, you went ahead and have designed a virtual Macstock to keep the community together, to deliver some great presentations and great information to them. And, obviously it can't be like it is in person. Mm-hmm. But I personally have attended a whole lot of different conferences virtually now for work and otherwise. Some of them have worked, some of them have not worked. And I think the way that you're approaching this has it will work because you're mixing things up a little bit and you're keeping the presentations reasonably short, so the attention span thing doesn't hit. So I have absolutely a lot of confidence that this is going to be a great event.
I hope so. I was thinking about this a lot. This feels very much like Macstock 2015 to me. We put that together in what was it, eight short weeks. Didn't know if it was going to work. Had really, let's be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. And it's very much the case again. We're doing something entirely new. It's Macstock, but Macstock in name only, really, which is why I'm calling it virtual Macstock. And I'm trying to adhere as best as possible to what made Macstock Macstock. In other words, we have 20-minute presentations, whether they're kind of or interview style or pre-recorded, I should say. Some of the presenters are going to pre-record their presentations. Some of them we're doing interview style, but we're trying to stick them to right around 20 minutes, and then we're going to bring them into the live stream via Jitsi Meet. Actually, I'm going to use Jitsi Meet for that. The presenters will be able to come in. I have Dave Ginsburg is helping me kind of co-host the day, and what he's going to be doing is bringing the speakers in, monitoring the chat for questions from the attendees, and we're hoping to bring all that in after the pre-recorded segments. And then we'll have a couple breaks throughout the day. And I'm really happy to announce this just came to light this morning. OWC is going to be taking part again. They have been such an incredible supporter of Macstock these past 5 years, and they came up and said, "Hey, we would like to offer a giveaway." They have a brand new Thunderbolt 3 dock. They said it wasn't even for sale on their website yet, and they want to set that up as a giveaway for people who attend virtual Macstock. So I'm really excited about that. So they're going to be taking part. And then in addition to the talks and the kind of live Q&A type stuff, what I also am setting up, and this is something that I really only just learned about the other day. One of the attendees from Macstock told me about this and said, "Hey, you should really check this out," is this neat kind of social chat room technology where people can go over into I'm going to call it the Macstock Lounge. They can go over to this Macstock Lounge, put in their headset, microphone, and you can walk up to people and have little conversations with them. And then as you walk away from them, the sound kind of fades out and it picks up again as you walk closer to someone else and you're talking to them. So you can actually, within this room, form little groups, have little hallway tracks, if you will. So it's a brand new service. They're in beta right now, but I'm happy to take part in it, and we'll give it a try. We'll just see what happens. So that's what I was saying. This feels very much like Macstock 2015 in that we're just giving it a try and seeing what happens. And if it works, I'd love to do this again.
First of all, that sounds really interesting. I want to find out more about that offline. But just the idea that you're willing to try that. I mean, I feel like this is something that Macstock has done so well. Each year, you've taken the things that have worked the best and continued them. And then there's second tier things that maybe weren't quite as successful as you thought they would be. And okay, so we're going to tweak them or we're going to replace them with something else. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to fall in love with this is the way it's going to work. And okay, it didn't work this year. It'll work next year. And instead of saying, okay, let's do a good hard assessment and make some adjustments. And you've done that. And so this is the first virtual Macstock. I'm sure that there will be things that you can and will improve upon, but you got to start somewhere, and you're starting.
Yeah, we're starting, and I do have some fail safes in place because I'm using various services like YouTube is what we're using for the live stream, and we'll be using the YouTube chat. Even though it's an unlisted live stream, folks can log into the Macstock website and get to it. But I'll also make available to the attendees the direct link. So there's a fail safe right there. If something happens with the Macstock website or what have you, and they can't get to it, there's this other link where they can go and still watch the live stream. Same thing with the kind of lounge, the Macstock Lounge. By the way, it's a service called High Fidelity. I probably should have mentioned that. It's real. It's kind of neat. It's audio only. There's a map you kind of wander around on. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. You have a little avatar, and you just kind of walk up to groups and chat. And so, like I said, the intention is to be a hallway track. But again, there's going to be a direct link to that. So if for some reason it doesn't work getting to it with the fancy button on the Macstock site, there's going to be another way to get to it. So I'm trying to build as many fail safes into it as possible. Of course, there's always something that can go wrong. But then even if, again, as a fail safe, even if all goes south, so many of the talks are pre-recorded. All the talks are pre-recorded, that I'll make them available to folks after virtual Macstock is over as well to go back and watch them on their own time, whether they could attend in person or whether they couldn't attend in person, whether they missed a talk. they wanted to go to their cafeteria, their kitchen upstairs, and get lunch or whatever, and they miss something, they can always go back and watch that talk later. So I'm trying to build as much of this into it as possible so that regardless of what may or may not happen, we'll be able to make it work.
So let's talk, because we're sort of dancing around it here, as to the day comes and I get links from you. What happens next? How am I participating in Macstock this year?
Okay, so folks who sign up or who purchased a ticket to Macstock 2020. Purchased a ticket to Macstock 2020, you're already registered. If you just want to register for virtual Macstock, that's fine too. Come to the Macstock website. There will be a virtual Macstock link, and you log in. And once you log in, it's going to drop you, excuse me, it's going to drop you to the live stream from YouTube with the chat box right alongside it. So, excuse me. So at that point, you can go ahead and just start watching. And if you care to take part in the chat, that box will be off to the side so that you can, chat with others who are in attendance, or leave a question for the presenter whose talk is being shown to you right at that moment. One thing I learned from watching another live stream is they ask their attendees to put a cue in front of their question, which makes it a lot easier for them to spot those questions as they're going through the chat room. And so we'll be doing the same thing. I thought that was a great idea. So I'm going to let folks know, if you have a question, go ahead and proceed it with a cue so that we know that that's a question for the presenter. And then when we bring them into the live stream, Dave will be able to ask that question of that presenter, and we'll be able to get the answer out to that attendee. So from the attendee perspective, other than the high fidelity room, it's going to essentially be watching the live stream and participating in the chat room. I did seriously think about Zoom. I seriously thought about, Microsoft Teams. I thought about Google Meet. I thought about all these different services that would, in theory, allow people to join with video. But the events like that I've taken part in got really messy really quick. And unless you have someone who's seriously just sitting there and moderating the whole thing and watching for those hands to be raised and things like that, which can be difficult when you have a group of, well, I think we're up to 170 attendees. When you have a group that size, how do you manage that? So I think sticking with the chat room, sticking with watching the live stream, and then giving people that opportunity to kind of go off and kind of verbally using audio chat with each other in the high fidelity room, I think is a good way to go. And that the types of virtual conferences I've attended have done exactly that. And so I've spent a lot of time, I'll be honest, I spent a lot of time attending other virtual conferences, and they had a lot of great information, but I had my Macstock hat on. So I was looking at how they were doing things and trying to, steal ideas from them. And so a lot of what we're seeing with virtual Macstock this year came from some of the other conferences I've attended, and seen how they did things, and then try to replicate that because I felt it worked well.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Linode. You can build it on Linode. Linode has opened their newest data center in Mumbai, India. That one, along with others around the world, gives Linode the ability to put your server anywhere you want it, to accommodate any local regulatory needs that you might face. And that's just one more addition to all the great features you get with Linode. A dedicated CPU, distributed applications, native SSD storage, a 40 gigabit network, industry-leading processors, the ability to deploy many different servers in literally minutes with their one-click installs, and a new cloud manager. If you've built servers with other providers, then you know how important those things are. And if you haven't, well, there's no need for you to go through the pain some of us already have. Sign up with Linode at linode.com/MacVoices and get $20 off your first order. That's Linode linode.com/MacVoices for $20 off your first server package. Go now, and your server will be up and running before you know it. One more time, linode.com/MacVoices to save $20 on your first order. Thanks to Linode for their support of MacVoices. We're all figuring this stuff out. I too attended several conferences, and I sent you a couple of letters or emails about, this is what I attended, and unfortunately it's industry specific, but this technique really worked well, and this technique over here just fell flat on its face. My God, don't do that. And so,
I hope I'm not doing any of those.
No, I believe me, I would have talked to you offline if I heard about it, but it is a challenge because nobody has done things on this scale before, I think. People have tried, and I know I'm seeing it in business. Webinars are becoming, now a huge thing as opposed to meetings.
Right.
And the people that are still trying to do a meeting via a webinar, it's falling flat. But if they're adopting the webinar format, then it's working. And, they just haven't figured out, maybe the ones that aren't working, that it's not working. But everybody's trying something. And it feels like in the middle of a lockdown, I'm seeing so much creativity and frankly, kind of a different kind of excitement about things. So I'm really anxious to see how all this goes and to see how the high fidelity rooms work out, or what you call it, the Macstock Lounge.
I'll call it the Macstock Lounge.
Yeah, how that works, and the mixing of the live versus recorded, I think, is absolutely terrific because it almost guarantees that you can kind of stay on schedule even if something blows up.
Exactly. There's that. There's trying to minimize technical difficulties as best as possible, things like that. Look, this is the way we're doing it this time. If we do another virtual Macstock in fall or in winter, I may adopt a different way of doing things, or I may just repeat what we're doing here. Like you said a few minutes ago, it's very much like the in-person Macstock, Macstock itself, Macstock proper, Macstock Prime. It's very much like Macstock Prime in that, yes, every year things were somewhat the same, but also different. And it's just a way of evolving and changing as time goes on. And, I'll be honest, I had a certain comfort level. By the time we'd done 5 years of Macstock, I had a certain comfort level with knowing roughly how things were going to go for the day. Again, just like the first Macstock in 2015, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of not doubt. I think this is going to work pretty well, but there's a lot of uncertainty, I should say, in how well things are going to work. But I think it'll go well. I think it'll go well. My biggest worry, I'll be honest, is my internet going out. That's my biggest worry.
And at the risk of repeating myself, though, you and the Macstock team deserve so much credit for figuring this out and even and trying it, as opposed to just doing what, again, some folks have done and just say, oh, well, we're just going to fold up our tent and come back and see us next year. And look, there's nothing wrong with that because sometimes it's just too big an undertaking.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I'm seeing what I'm kind of feeling like are winners and losers in this situation. The winners are out there trying something, even if it doesn't work. They're trying something, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for it because they have that much more knowledge than they did before about what doesn't work. The winners, the losers are the ones that are just, well, I'm on lockdown and I can't do anything, and so sorry.
Right.
And that's and it's sad because, man, the tools. I mean, you just ripped off a bunch of them: Zoom, Skype, Microsoft Teams, Jitsi. I mean, there's so many options out there to try things, and going to somebody's website and seeing, oh well, we're suspending meetings or discussions or anything until the lockdown is over. Okay, that was fine for the first month, maybe two. Now you got to start adapting.
Right. I will admit I did pull back in one regard. My initial idea was to do 2 days. That was my initial idea. Macstock was going to be 2 days. Well, gosh darn it, virtual Macstock is going to be 2 days too. And I realized that it's too much. One, it's too much for people to sit there and watch it all. But two, because it's different. You're not getting up. You're not socializing. You don't have the in-person benefits of Macstock itself. So what you have is staring at a glass and aluminum screen, and it's different. So with the counsel of some close friends, I decided to just pull it back to 1 day. So I did expand that day, though. Originally, I was thinking 11 to 3. Virtual Macstock is going to be July 25th from 11 to 4 with 2 presentations per hour and 2 half-hour breaks put in there. So we'll keep the live stream going, but there'll be 2 half-hour breaks where you can get up, you can go grab lunch, you can go get something to drink, you can go do whatever, take the dog out, whatever you need to do for that half hour, come back and know that you really didn't miss anything. And I think that's important. And some of the virtual conferences I've attended, that was invaluable to me, to be able to get up and just stretch my legs and get away from that screen. So I wanted to build that in there. Yeah, a half hour here and a half hour there is a big chunk of that 11 to 4 day, but I do think that that's important to have in there. So we'll be 11 to 4. We have 2 half-hour breaks. And then the high fidelity room, I'm actually going to just leave that running after virtual Macstock ends. It's going to be a little like when Macstock itself ends and people go to the Hampton Inn in McHenry and they kind of hang out in the lounge there, or they go to the Bulldog restaurant in front and they hang out there. You can hang out in the high fidelity room and just kind of chat with people if you want to. That's there. Or of course, they can take it off. I was going to say offline, but it has to be online. They can take it off to Twitter. They can take it off to wherever they want to and continue their conversations there. But I'm going to leave that room open at least for a day so that people can go kind of hang out, because that's what we would do. We would go to the hotel after and we'd just sit there in the lounge and talk. And, darn if I didn't get home at 2 a.m, because we're just sitting there talking about stuff. And so folks are welcome to do that in that room as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I have lots and lots of great presenters lined up. There's this guy, Chuck Joyner, hosts MacVoices. He's part of the lineup. We have Mike Schmitz. We have Brittany Smith. We have Jay Miller. We have Allison Sheridan, Josh Wrench. And Elle Newman and Brett Terpstra are doing a combo presentation. I know the topic. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's a really interesting topic, especially in these days, and it covers a lot of the stuff that we just talked about too. And Joe Bulick is going to be presenting as well. So there's some really great talks. And the neat thing about it is this is just a sampling. It's just a taste. It's a little smackerel of the folks who would be presenting. Smackerel,
Smackerel?
A little taste of folks who will be presenting at Macstock 2021. All these folks have had their presentations accepted for next year, and this is all working under the presumption that we'll be able to meet. And then if we do this again in fall or winter, I'd like to bring some of the other folks in who've submitted talks and have been accepted for Macstock next year, and let folks get to meet them too. So just, like I said, it's just a taste. It's just a fun way to get the community together. We'll give it a try and see what happens.
One thing you said, and I want to make sure we're clear with everyone, the time frames that you just said, is our central time. Yeah.
Yes. I should have mentioned that. Yes.
Yeah.
11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time, or Chicago time, however you want to say that. That's the time. So in the U.S., That would be noon to 5 Eastern, and it would be 9 to 2 Pacific. And then I'll let folks do the math if they're overseas.
Yeah. And that is one of the challenges of the virtual conference thing, is trying to, I mean, it's bad enough trying to schedule of a business call here in the US with 3 time zones, 3-hour difference. Right. You start going around the world and it gets really weird, really quick.
It gets really weird, really quick. And of course I left Mountain Time out. I guess I should have said 10 to 3 Mountain as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave out Arizona and Indiana and some of the. I'm going to leave them out because they have their own little time zones.
Well, they're probably used to doing their own time zone math. So, okay. So to be clear here, you just go to Macstock Conference and Expo.com at the appointed hour in your time zone, log in and participate and have some fun.
Participate, have some fun. And, because we're live streaming to YouTube, one of the things I really like about live streaming to YouTube is that it does give people the opportunity to scrub back. So if you don't join until later, but the live stream is still going on, you can scrub back to the beginning and start watching from the start, So I think that's a really great feature of it. I know some of the other live streaming services do that too, but it works really well on YouTube. I do it all the time. I join these live streams late and I say, oh, I wanted to see the beginning of that. And I go back to the beginning. So yeah, I like that. And so, nobody should feel pressured to come right at 11. I'm actually starting the live feed probably right around 10:30, if I'm being honest. But it's going to be a lot of setup. It's going to be just like Macstock. If you walk into the conference hall at Macstock early, if you get there at 8 and we're not starting till 9, you're going to see us setting up cameras. You're going to see us working on the stage. You're going to see us miking people up. That's what you're going to see with the live stream. Or you might see nothing. It just kind of depends. And by that, I mean, if we're not actively pushing something to the stream at that moment, you might see nothing, but you're certainly welcome to sit there and watch it. There are some folks who do live streams, and in the minutes, seconds leading up to it, they're dancing or they're showing their pets. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not dancing for the live stream. I'll just put that right out there right now. But you may see us setting up. You may see us chatting. You may see us, doing whatever, sending test stuff out to it. It's all good. Everyone's welcome as long as we're running it.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out. I'm delighted to be a very small part of it, and congratulations on taking a shot at it. I mean, I'm sure it's all going to work well, but even if it crashes, I'm telling you, you deserve a huge amount of credit for doing this, and we'll see you there.
All right. Thanks, Chuck.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Macstock Conference and Expo.com is where you want to go for Macstock, the virtual Macstock 2020. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.